blah, blah.
Dovahkiin, some other words I don't know.
Oh,
Just
guys, this is epic, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's bring it down, Matthew. Thank you very much. Welcome,
we were
ladies
made
and
for this.
gentlemen. We apologize for this rude beginning to an epic adventure. Welcome to the first episode of the Character Crusade 3-Play. Yay!
Yay.
We play our play in the 3-play.
Yes. And, we'll leave it open to your imagination as to what would happen if we added a fourth. So we, as you know, or maybe don't, in a previous podcast episode, we used Rory's story cubes to create a background for a character at random with the assistance of some of our dear viewers who are in the live stream for our first live episode. And now we are going to take that character on to the next step. So we're going to go from concept to an actual character. But we're going to do more than that. We are going to actually play this character as if it were a Let's Play, or maybe in our case, it'll be more of a role play. All three of us will be contributing to this adventure. And we have established some play rules, which we will be outlining in this episode as to how this character is played and how we are going to take what was developed with this random backstory concept and bring it to fruition in game. So this episode is going to be devoted to talking about the character, actually building it. Yay. And then, some discussion about the game mechanics that we're going to use and some of our play rules going forward. We don't have a ton of play rules. We've got a concept at the moment.
We got some general guidelines out that we're going to start talking about, and we'll just kind of see where they go.
Yeah. So first of all,
You sound like Captain Barbosa. They're not really rules. They're more guidelines.
Exactly. They're guidelines. They're guidelines. But some of them are things that we are going to strictly adhere to. And this will all, I think, come into focus as we get a little further on in the process in this episode. But for this one, we're focused just on building the character, talking a little bit about the concept, and then we are going to take it forward into the next episode and start actually adventuring and just see what comes of it. So maybe we should start by just doing a quick outline of what the dice revealed when we actually rolled this character concept.
What
right?
did the dice reveal?
Well, the dice had indicated to us that this character was going to be a mage.
Yes. A red guard.
Yes, we had determined red guard. And the idea of red guard, I think, was based on the scarab.
Correct.
Right? So we had a die that rolled a scarab or a beetle on one side.
Yep. And we were going to apply the Knights of the Scarab concept supplied by one of the viewers at the time.
Yes.
In the stream.
Exactly. So Knights of the Scarab was kind of a distinctly red guard concept.
Yep.
So we arrived at the conclusion that this was going to be a red guard mage.
And we had a happy face, so this was a upbeat character to begin with, or will be at least.
Yep.
And then there was some sort of event that will happen that will give them clues or unlock this mystery that they're trying to solve.
Yes.
Of their past or of something.
Yep. There was a die with a key and a die with a lock.
Yep.
So we have yet to determine what the significance of those are, but we, in our podcast, in the live stream, we all came to the conclusion that those two together indicated some kind of a mystery being unlocked that had to do with the character's origin or the character's relationship to the Knights of the Scarab.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where we're at. Let's move into character creation, shall we? New.
Does yours have a B on the end of it, Matt?
My what?
the new option?
It does.
In your-
still have
Yeah.
a B at
Does
the
it
end.
say noob?
It does say noob. It's a capital B. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Man,
So,
he's really fascinated by your cursor, dude.
wow, look at it. It's up there.
Dude,
Oh,
he's
it's down
totally
here?
checking out your
it's-
cursor.
It's over there. It's over there. Okay.
All right.
So we had Joe and I had some discussions last week in planning this, and we thought maybe a female character, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So determination made. Hello. Race. We also know that is going to be Redguard. Whoop. Okay. So let's get into some specifics of this character. Do we want to roll through the presets?
Yeah, let's give him see if there's anything that we can start with at least. So
Okay. Yeah,
it's kind of nice to just roll through and see what they offer.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. What do you guys think about the type of mage that this might be? Because their attitude toward magic, or the origin of their magic, or their style of magic could have some impact on their personality.
That'd be the Grace Jones haircut.
Totally.
I love that. Look at her. She just looks like she means business. Really?
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was that?
Can't.
Sorry.
What type of mage are we talking about here? Are we thinking like this is a character
Like
that is
Destruction or alteration, or
Well-
do we want to get to that level?
No,
or-
I was thinking more like, yeah, that's fine. Freaking change it. I don't care.
That's a cool hairdo.
I was thinking more along the lines of what their image might be. You know, like do we have, sort of a book study type of mage, somebody
okay.
who's more of a shaman type of a character, somebody who's more of an instinctive spellcaster. What do we want to go with here?
I always kind of like, personally, that more instinctive, kind of innate type of spellcaster personally, but I've also done book smarts.
Yeah, I guess
I'm not sure.
I tend to agree with you a little bit. Maybe someone who has some natural power but is kind of unschooled.
Yeah.
It might generate some interesting gameplay around the mage quest line. Being in a structured environment could be good, or it could be very bad.
Right.
What are your thoughts, Matt? Any concepts you
Kind
want
of
to
like
throw out?
I like the idea of being able to grow in the character a little bit. If it's all completely innate, it provides too many outs. I think if there's some book smarts that you've got to get either on quests or other things like that, then you have to accomplish some things in order to sort of move to the next level.
So more of
like
a
that.
kind of a natural affinity or ability, but
I like
Needs-
affinity. Needs polishing.
but it needs that
coaching.
Yeah,
Okay.
that guidance to coax it out to its.
Now, who is going to do the guiding? We don't know,
Right.
right? Because it may not come from who you would expect.
Right. That's
so
true.
That kind of indicates to me that we've got a person who has some innate ability, but it's maybe it's a very limited or focused kind of ability, or an unrefined
Yeah.
kind of ability.
Yeah, that's why I
So-
think affinity is a really good word, because it means that
Okay.
you may have
You
some
you have the
talent for it.
It needs to be brought out.
Yep.
Okay. Well, given that, is there kind of a rough concept that you guys think is better than another here is a starting point? I mean, some of these are pretty wild looking, and then some of them are I tend to like this kind of a look.
See, and you keep going past it. I really like that one. Go back one more. That one. And I don't know why. It just sort of stands out to me.
Yeah.
Well, it depends too on, is this going to be a character that has more of a tribal type of background, or are they going to be more of a, I hate to use the word cultured, but
I like tribal. I like the I like the difficulty, the
So-
potential difficulty that tribal presents in terms of just dealing with cultural norms.
So
and
more
things.
kind of on almost a Forsworn kind of path.
Maybe.
Maybe not quite that
Maybe,
extreme.
yeah, maybe not quite that extreme, but somebody who comes from a place where there's a simpler way of living, maybe maybe a harsher way of living, maybe more demands put on the individual.
Sure.
To hunt and fish and farm,
But
that
then
kind of thing.
How do you know that the tribal markings, for example, aren't already an example of having achieved something already in your life?
Oh yeah.
Same thing with hairstyles. Same thing with the plating. I mean,
Right.
there's all kinds of things that you could attribute that stuff to.
Right.
You know, maybe it's associated with, adulthood, passing
Yeah.
different parts of childhood and adolescence. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Assuming other body characteristics aside,
I
we're talking
like-
about an adult
I
character.
like
here.
that face paint, but not the hair. It looks too old.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the markings.
Is this a character then that we could start with and then adjust the hair? Or do you think the facial features are maybe a bit too old as well? I mean, it is
The eye-
using.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
the
that's-
eyes are very sunken.
Yeah, that's. Yeah,
Wow, that's a person who's lived a little.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Here's the one we could start with, and
Yeah,
then
I
we could
think
work
the
from here.
the facial features are more in tune.
Okay, let's do this. We'll start with this facial preset.
'Cause this is a younger person.
Yeah.
I feel.
And I guess my feeling is if we're going to go Redguard, let's go darker skin tone.
I agree.
So let's make it a bit more pronounced like that, you know? Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
What do you think of this face paint? Do you like the other face paint better?
I don't like that face
I
paint.
kind of like the simpler one. That one feels
Yeah.
it feels a little bit
busy.
It's a lot, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Well, it is a lot. I mean, it feels a little bit like New Orleans Medicine Man kind of thing. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Day of the
about
Dead.
what about weight? Do we have a bulkier woman, a slighter woman?
I'm feeling a little slighter to average.
Okay, so
not bulky doesn't seem right,
it came in at 0.69
which is a little above
default. So we could try going down to like 0.55, a little thinner,
or a little
not
bit.
a little bit.
Not too bad. I wouldn't
mean-
go any thinner than that.
I think of this person if they are sort of living a tribal type of lifestyle as probably being fairly lean and athletic and
Right.
so forth. Okay. All good here?
I think so.
All right, let's move on. Complexion. This setting here is as smooth as the skin would get, which I think is giving the character that youthful look we were talking about,
Yep.
which
Yeah,
I think
I think
is
it's good.
okay.
Yep.
Dirt
Keep dirt lower.
in this complexion, probably it's a little hard to even make out anyways. So, yeah, I can't really change that. Dirt color. There, we'll put that to the bottom. How about scars? Has this person lived enough to have any scars, you think?
Let's toggle through a few of them and see.
Okay.
I'm tempted to say yes.
Okay.
It depends on where.
Yeah, I agree that it depends on where. I mean, deep facial scars are tough, but
That might be a candidate, something small.
These are cheek.
Cheeky. I don't know where that one went.
That one's right. That one's right on the cheekbone.
Oh, okay. That's too much.
More pronounced.
not vicious. Noticeable, but not vicious.
I like. You know what I like is, which one was it? This one, because it sort of gives me the impression of, an animal scratch, an animal cut, something that a person who's living in the wild and hunting and living that tribal existence could reasonably get by,
Being
in
very close.
everyday life. But we can look at
Is
some
it
of
just
the
on
others,
one
too.
side or both?
Yeah, it's just on the one.
Just
Okay.
the one. Well,
What's
a
over
little
there?
something
That's
going
what I
on
was
there
wondering.
too. I don't know. Let's keep going. So we've been through these. Okay. This is where we start getting into some scars that look more like burn scars and are more pronounced.
Right.
That
Oh, it's like from the corner. It's like a Joker.
Yeah.
Be a
That's a
little
burn
much.
There
scar.
was one, maybe 2 notches from the extreme left that was a lower cheek scar.
No, that's too much.
Too
They
much.
start to
Way
look
too
very
much.
disfiguring, and I think that's not.
Yeah. That one's like kind of a big slice. That looks like the type of scar you might get if you were in a fight.
Right.
I don't like the burn scar kind of thing
No.
very much.
If you go back
another
all the
one
way
of
over
those.
to the left on the slider, what's the second one in? Yeah, that's not the one. That one.
That one's not bad either.
It's just one side by the looks of it. I can't tell.
Yeah, it's just
It's
it's
with
along
that-
the jawline, kind of.
That way
Well, we can come
don't
back
know
to it once we.
But it could be a
toggle some other
person, could
things.
be an animal, could be a fall,
Right.
could be a.
Yeah.
The thing with the claw mark is that you know that it was something
Yeah.
living, whether it was
Yeah.
another person, whether it
Right.
was. Yeah.
This is a bit more ambiguous, isn't it? Which isn't bad. Okay. Yeah, let's move on to war paint. We definitely had some work to do there, didn't we?
Well,
So that's the original one that I kind of liked.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not yellow, but I like the pattern. It's not quite as distracting.
there
Mhm.
could be a story behind that pretty easily, right?
There could be. There's a lot of pretty good war paints, but I think at this stage I wouldn't want anything that's too much.
Whoa, she's got pretty eyes.
Kind of a David Bowie.
Look at that.
That was exactly what I was
Wow.
thinking.
That's just like eyeshadow.
Yeah,
It's kind of funky.
a little more subtle.
I like the handprint one. I
And
thought that was
again, let's also remember that our character may choose to change her war paint along the way based
Mhm.
on
Yep.
circumstances, a personal choice, missions, things like that. I'm with you, Joe. I'll do that. We can do something like this to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
As far as color goes,
I think it would need to be something very contrasty with skin tone.
this is pretty contrasty, but
I'm
you
just
think it
saying
may
you-
be more of a white?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sold on the yellow.
What do you think, Matt?
I kind of like the white as well. It's very deliberate.
Now, what about? I like it too. What if we bring down the
Yeah, let's bring
the alpha
opacity.
though,
Mm-hmm.
and make it
Little.
a little less pronounced? That way, we still get a good look at her face and kind of appreciate the structure of her face, and get a little bit of war paint too. I don't know. Thoughts?
Maybe just a little more opaque. Yeah, right around there.
I'm just
I
gonna.
would think that if you did this on purpose every day, you would sort of want a reminder that it's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order for, think about this. In order for it to be perfectly applied,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
what's the reason for the dots? What's the reason? I'm just thinking about where's this character come from a bit.
Right. And you're going to have a reason for all of it.
This is probably a good time, Joe, for us to talk a little bit about the play concept here and
Okay.
what we were thinking about. I'll give a little preamble to folks. Because we generated the character concept randomly, Joe and I decided that it would be very interesting to make the idea of randomness a key part of this character's life story. And we have some mechanics that we're going to introduce into the game to help us make that happen. Correct, Joe?
That is correct.
Give people sort of a primer on what we're thinking here, because it might have an impact on some of these things that we're talking about now.
So one of the areas that we're going to be kind of throwing out in a more random manner is kind of a memory lapse issue.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be events that'll occur that will have a random impact on her memory, which during the gameplay is going to affect the role play. So she could kind of all of a sudden realize or come to a conclusion she doesn't know where she's at because this event occurred. And so now we're going to kind of just throw in some randomness and throw out some dice maybe or some cubes, and she may just abandon the entire mission she was on and go back to the last thing she was thinking of, or she may not have a real good clear idea of where she's at the moment.
Yes. And in order for us to kind of keep this idea under control, we've come up with some guidelines of our own creation and that are somewhat related to some of the character background to determine when a random event would kick off and the severity of the event, right?
Right. And we're also going to implement some concepts around if the character should actually die in game, and what does that really mean?
Yes.
So that's going to have somewhat of a random impact as well.
Yep. So when Joe and I were thinking about this concept, we were thinking, what is something that happens in game on a fairly regular basis,
but isn't so overt that it's going to occur every single 10 minutes or 5 minutes you're in.
Yeah, we needed some event to kick off this mechanic that was common enough that it would come up, but not so common that it would be a constant issue. And what we decided on was lightning-based attacks.
Oh.
So as a mage, we decided that it might be interesting to have a character who has an affinity, Matt, as we were talking about, for lightning magic or shock magic. So as a destruction mage, taking her up that destruction tree, focusing on the use of lightning, but then also making her have some kind of a weakness to lightning attacks.
Right. Why not?
So whenever she gets struck by a shock spell, depending on the severity or even what's the word I'm looking for? Exposure. The length of exposure is going to, the greater that is, the greater of an impact it's going to have on her short-term memory, essentially.
Yeah. So we thought of it as kind of almost like
scrambling her synapses.
Yeah. The lightning is causing some problem in her brain that's causing her to have short-term memory loss. And so the mechanic that we came up with was to say that if she sustained more than half her health points in damage or more, that she would be affected by this randomness for up to 6 in-game hours.
Wow.
Which means that after sustaining that damage from that kind of attack, at that point, there are certain things that we would be rolling randomly to determine what she did next.
Right. She could very well continue on what she was doing.
Yep.
Or she could go completely in the opposite direction.
Yes.
So.
Right. And then the most severe of all would be that she would die from a lightning-based attack. And in the event of a character death from a lightning-based attack, we are not really calling it death. What we're saying is that the character is rendered unconscious by the lightning attack and then wakes up at whatever that previous spawn point was or save point was and has lost her memory, doesn't remember anything that happened.
I was going to say it would have to be almost like a reboot.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes. And for that instance, we're saying that she is going to suffer from randomness for 24 in-game hours if that event takes place.
Before she starts piecing together what she was originally doing.
Exactly. So once the 24 hours lapses, then we would be able to slowly start to resume whatever quests we were on when the event took place.
Right. So I think what the fun part about this is that as a lightning-based or shock-based destruction mage, she both draws power from shock spells as well as is it afflicted by it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, what it's both her boon and her bane.
Yeah. Boonbanes.
Boonbanes. Bane boon.
Yeah. What he said.
The double B.
Okay, so now you get the concept. So having that concept planted in your head, let's kind of re-examine some of this stuff. So if we think about that, the juxtaposition of a mage who's gifted in an area that is also their weakness and the profound effects that could have on their psyche, their life, their outlook on the world, that maybe gives us a little bit more information to work with when we're actually crafting how the character looks.
Well, and you can maybe even take some of this war paint, this face paint, maybe as representative of that shock affinity.
Absolutely. Well, let's
That's kind of that dark, kind of direct point A to point B kind of. It's it's definitely not the Harry Potter lightning scar, but
Right.
Yeah. This is there's something. There's a story to tell with this, and so I think what we want to do as players is arrive on whatever we think the appropriate war paint is for her to have to start with, and then we devise whatever that story is as we go.
Well, and that's the great part with the race menu and the war paint and all that is, as the character grows, new styles develop new meaning. So it's so easy to change down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's keep moving then.
All right. So let's see. I noticed you went through her eyes a little bit.
Yeah, let's take a look at eyes. I always like eye color.
Yeah.
I think.
And do you have eye mods installed too?
Yes.
Yeah. There's some really nice eye mods.
That would explain why you have 240 mods running.
It would. Yes, in part.
In part.
So we got
4K eyelashes.
beautiful green eyes,
They've got from brows to lashes to it's crazy.
Wow.
golden, blue.
Now I've got the Eyes of Beauty, which is the mod I use. Looks like this might be what you're running.
Yeah. Silver, kind of a hazel, blue with blue bloodshot eyes, and then straight blue.
I don't like the bloodshot ones as much.
Me either.
That crystal in blue can look really nice. Maybe not the darker, deeper turquoise kind of look, but
This was the default. This is what we started with here.
which is nice, but let's see. Probably not that.
Yeah. I'm not liking blue for this character. For eye color, I mean.
Okay.
I'm not liking the white.
Something more simplistic, straightforward, like the browns aren't bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think like ethnically too, they make a lot of sense. And
Right.
one I do like is this, where we kind of have
Kind of an amber almost.
Yeah, they're still striking eyes, beautiful eyes, but I think they're fitting
uncommon.
with fitting with
Yeah, well, let's...
the race and complexion and all.
There
that.
isn't anything
keep
that
that.
you can do with anything in the eye, like hinting at the lightning issue, right?
No.
No, not unless it's
Kind of
it's
a
an option
texture
that you can
overlay or
choose.
something.
No.
It's something that could be done with a mod, a
Yes.
custom mod. So, Okay, so as far as eye shape goes, this is the default, right? Which is pretty nice.
It seems a little squinty. That's a little too round.
That needs to be dropped. I mean,
Yeah.
the eyes are too high, but right now it's just a question of
Kind of overall shape.
shape.
And the shape of those are nice.
Yeah. So what if we
This is starting to sound like Gattaca.
do this and we kind of bring them into the right position? So those kind of remind me of the ones we started with, but open a little bit more. Maybe.
Right, yeah. And the original default were just a little narrow for me. I like that.
We good
Kinda
with
has
that?
kind of that intense, focused kind of look to it.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? Her eyes are open wide enough. You can tell she's definitely interested in paying attention to what's going on.
Right.
I sort of like that. Okay. Let's see. I'm okay with like kind of the eyeshadow stuff, all of that. Angle, depth, spread.
I don't know that we need to mess with it too much.
Yeah, I think we're okay there. Joe, how are you feeling?
Yeah, no, you can really split hairs. I mean,
Yeah.
when you get into all the options.
So brow, these are kind of like the whole eyebrow things.
Right.
There's a lot of choices in here, but
they're all pretty pale.
yeah. I think a lot of that has to do with hair color here because we've chosen a hair color that's very close to the skin tone.
Yeah, that's true.
Why don't we go to hair, take a look at this. We can flip through the hairstyles and try some different colors, and then we can go back to the brows. So I think
from a hairstyle perspective, can you make it really contrasty color-wise so you can see,
yeah.
Like a blonde or something so that the hair really stands out as we're doing
Yeah, so we can
style choice.
see the style better.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, that's a bit too Beyonce.
I was going to say, Beyonce.
I feel like she's going to have a hairstyle that's the sort of thing she doesn't have to spend a lot of time on.
Very practical.
Yeah. That's the one thing I like about the Red Guards is they get hairstyles like this, which is really kind of cool. Very distinctive,
Right. Honestly,
like
I'm not completely opposed to the bald.
I know. I think it
I was going to say either the bald or the dread look. The other ones look like you said, that they take too much time.
too made up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of Nordish looking.
You're a pretty mage.
Tullius.
Okay, so I guess I would vote for either this or the mohawk with the braid. I could definitely go kind of the no hair route too.
See, I like the mohawk with the braid and the bald look.
What about like this kind of look with a different color hair?
No, I don't. That doesn't do much for me.
So like
It looks
I
a
like
little
just
Sidney
straight
Poitier.
straight razor.
shorn.
Or
But think about that. It also
mohawky.
takes a lot of work to maintain
Well,
shorn
yeah, to keep it
to bald.
that short, consistent.
Yeah, I feel like I gotta have some hair. I would do this. This to me is more. This seems like a wilder sort of unkempt, don't mess with it kind of look. The mohawk with the braid looks like something you'd still have to like. I don't know.
Mess around with too
Put
much.
some troll fat in it to make it stick up.
That's what she does when she's going clubbing in Whiterun.
Yeah. So I would be cool with something like this,
Okay,
which I
well,
think is a happy medium.
Let's go with that then.
Okay. So as far as color goes, then we need to figure out color.
Not white.
So let's get something here. Go mid-range. So what we need is the ability to kind of tint it. Here, let me do this. I'll accept this, and then we'll go through the
Presets.
defaults. Okay.
Mhm.
So
And you got to keep in mind too that this is actually a fairly dark space. So
Yep.
yeah.
the hairs are. I mean, you're not seeing the contrast against the dark background very well.
Mm-hmm.
What does straight black look? Do they just have a straight black?
Yeah, they do.
Just kind of curious what that might. That's going to be
Closest
too
thing
much.
was right here, I think.
Because again,
right
in,
there.
in theory, she's young, right? So
Right.
there aren't.
Yeah.
It's not going to be any kind of salt
Mhm.
and
Unless
pepper.
she's like Omega Man or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, this,
I kind of like that
Is okay?
personally.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so
It is a young look, which I think is helpful.
let's go back to brow then.
And there's still going to be a little slighter to see just because it is a dark color on a dark
Mm-hmm.
color. But
I think that looks good though. There's sort of razor points at the
Yeah.
end on that one.
yeah,
Mhm.
I kind of like that one too.
Yeah. All right.
Wow,
We got that.
consensus, quick.
Quick
at-
save.
Look at her. She's looking really good.
Yeah.
Okay, how about mouth
All
shape?
right.
I like her mouth now. So
That's number 19.
that's 19, so let's track that.
That's too puckery, too pursed.
A little too Dory.
Kissy lips.
Okay. Fuller. Wider mouth. Ooh.
No.
That's aggravated, that other one.
Yeah. No.
I don't like what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm. It's 18.
That doesn't seem to go with the rest of her facial features. 17, 16 don't.
I don't know, guys.
I think the
Ooh.
default.
That's
what?
not bad.
That's not. Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah, I kind of like that one too. Notice that what that does to her face, it really
narrows it.
sucks in her cheeks a little bit.
Yeah, I
like
was
Yeah.
gonna say, but to me,
Gives
it
her
really,
cheekbones more
Ooh.
definition.
I kind of like that.
her
I don't know.
her profile is significantly changed by that one.
Yeah.
It makes her, to me, it makes her look a little bit more severe,
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
which,
Well, the
Isn't
cheek,
a no
the cheekbones
nonsense.
are much more pronounced. Yeah,
okay.
I'd go with that one.
All right, cool. Hair, we did. Extras, expressions.
Do we want to go back to see what kind of different chins? If you go back to mouth, is that in mouth?
Mouth or face? I don't know which.
Um,
Chin.
Do you want like a Jay Leno chin?
no.
Well, there it gives us the ability to adjust the chin. It doesn't have like
All
chin
right, that
presets.
might be in the face. Or
Okay.
What are you thinking about chin?
I
less?
don't know. I'm just. It seems really. I just want to see what maybe some more broad, not quite so pointy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at mouth. We go down to chin. Okay, if we look at her profile,
Although the profile looks pretty good.
profile looks pretty good, but
Do you think that the face paint is having a little bit of
Maybe might be playing with my mind.
here's chin width. We could
No,
you can see how that affects it there.
Yeah, no, I don't like.
Well, really narrow. She looks very, early
Chin
teenagerish.
length.
No.
It's a pharaoh.
You know, let's keep it at the default how it was. Actually, now that I'm kind of looking at the different.
Okay, that's pretty close. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just keep it how it was. I think
Okay.
you know after seeing kind of the progression through the couple different options.
There's our lady so far. Now, one thing I will say, I did increase her height a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that.
I gave her a few ticks on height, which
I think it's at the end on scale.
yeah, I was actually looking for. Maybe it's just on males. There is a slider for neck thickness. Maybe
Oh.
that is. I feel like she needs to have a slightly less pencil neck,
Mm.
but
Well, if she's been schlepping heavy animals back from the savannah,
Yeah,
she
maybe.
can carry a mammoth.
Might not give that option for the female.
might not. Yeah.
Come on, Bethesda. Give us neck options.
Yeah, I suppose you could go to all in the very beginning.
Is that where that is?
Yeah.
And look at
See
the
if there's
900
anything.
entries.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you'd think it'd be in the ends. And that color. Yeah, I don't see anything like that.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. The one thing that we haven't looked at yet is nose. Or how do we feel about that? I mean, I like her nose now.
Mm-hmm. I think to me it fits the rest of her face, but
It's scaled, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, anything else, guys, that you can think of that we've looked at? Mouth, hair.
Really looked much at expressions.
Expression, I mean, if we were going to give her anything, it might be mood puzzled.
are you
You know,
saying that
like-
there isn't an option for resting bitch face or whatever that is that people say that some people have?
Yeah. You know, I find some of these to be really interesting. In her case...
Is it just default expression? Is that what you're...
Well, yeah, it kind of gives you sort of a basic default expression.
Ooh, that's the aggravated school teacher.
Yeah. And the cool thing I like about them, too, is, you know, you can kind of mix them up a little bit.
Yeah, you can get some interesting combinations.
So the brows come up, those kinds of things. But
After we spent all that time getting our eyes more open.
okay. I don't know. I'm okay with it, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's got a slightly puzzled look, very slight. But that's okay. Because I'm guessing that she's probably a little bit confused sometimes. Okay, body scales. We got height, head. We're not going to change any of these things. I think her glutes are fine how they are.
Buns, buns and thighs.
Buns and thighs. Okay, so let's select R for done. And
Prisoner. No.
what is our name, Joe? What did we decide on?
It depends how you want to pronounce it. I pronounce it Sailee. I think you
Okay.
pronounced it more Sailee.
Okay.
Sailee.
S-A-I-L-E-E. Sailee. I like that.
Sailee.
Sailee. And we had some ideas around origin story for that name, did we not?
Yeah, actually. It is
A concept, anyways.
yeah, it's a play on the god Sai.
Okay.
And actually, the name itself is an actual name. It's, I believe, if I remember right, it was a Hindu Bengali origin.
Uh-huh.
But it seemed to work and fit the character, so
Yeah.
we went with it.
And in the Tamrielic universe, the god Sai, or I don't know if it's a god or a lesser god or what, but there's reference in lore to a god named Sai who is focused on the idea of luck and randomness and
Right.
stuff like that. So
Seems apropos.
And what
Yeah.
is that book? It's King Henry? King? Was it a King book?
it was a king book. It was a story about Sai and included some stuff on Ebon Arm and things like that. It was kind of a really interesting story.
It was
so.
kind of referenced it. So
Yeah.
but that's, you can look it up.
So there she is. This is Sailee, the Red Guard mage. Now, this is where we get into our first element of randomness. We are using alternate start, and we are going to take a look at our options, our character starting options, and we are going to determine the start randomly.
Of those that make sense.
I
I
guess,
mean,
yes.
because I don't think we don't want to do like a vampire origin.
No,
that
we
kind
don't.
of thing. So we're gonna look through them, figure out which ones make sense, and then kind of do a random choice on those.
Okay, so let's take a look. I mean, arrived on a ship, I don't know, that makes sense to me. Does it you?
Yeah, that's definitely plausible.
Okay, how about owning a property in one of the holds?
Probably
Probably
not.
Okay. A member of a guild?
Maybe.
Okay, let's 2. A patron at a local inn?
It's always an option.
Yep, we would have to explain how they got there, but
Correct.
that's okay. Soldier in the army?
It depends on which armies they give.
Well, my guess is it's
Stormcloak or Imperial.
Stormcloak or Imperial. So I'm okay with that one.
It could happen. Sure.
Okay, so that's 4 that we think apply.
Vanilla start.
Vanilla start, does that apply?
It could.
Sure.
Why not?
Okay, that's 5. Escape from this cell.
Just a prisoner.
Yeah. That's up to us then to decide how they got in here in the first place,
Why are
right?
they in there?
So what does that get us up to?
6.
6. Outlaw in the wilds.
Sure.
Okay, 7. Vigilant of Stendar.
I'm not feeling that one.
I'm kind of not feeling it either. Camping in the woods. Sure.
Why not? So that's what, 8?
Yep. Shipwrecked off the coast.
Definitely.
9. Okay, vampire, we said no.
No.
Necromancer. No.
No.
Warlock's Thal.
No, you think? Oh, that
Thrall.
could be an
Yeah.
interesting
Like-
memory tie-in.
Yeah, right. Somebody who's had their head messed with and made into kind of a slave.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
See, the next one fits with that too.
10.
So that's 10.
Left 4
Attacked and
Dead.
Left for Dead is 11. And a member of the Alakir.
12.
Okay, 12.
So there's nice round number.
Yep. If you look up in that cabinet, Joe, I've got dice up there. There should be either 2 6s or a 12-sided die. And
I don't just keep
Yep.
those handy.
right on top of the zombie game there, the zombie, see that tube? That cardboard tube? The dice are sitting on top of it, aren't they?
Oh, they're right next to it. No. Oh, there's no dice on it.
There's no? What did I do with my dice?
I don't know.
Well, we can also do it by throwing out.
I'm confounded. Hang on.
Or cubes.
Uh,
Oh, that's a shot glass.
What did I do with my dice? Well, yeah, look inside there. Maybe they're in there.
No, it's just zombie dice. Well, you know, I've got my laptop here.
Randomizer.
Okay.
And I'm going to guess that there's probably a generator.
No,
of some
random number
sort.
generator. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. You know what? Now that I think about it, I brought my dice home.
All right.
I did. So
To the webs.
to the webs, random number generator, random number between 1 and 12. So we make a roll and then we just count down from the top. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, let's do it.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na. You know what? Just to help make it seem authentic.
Yeah.
Joe's gonna roll himself.
He's gonna.
We, might,
Just
we
get
can
some-
at least get the sound.
Oh yes.
I don't know if it'll pick up too well here, but
Oh, it will. There's microphones all over this
I
room.
sound like I'm playing
Playing
Yahtzee.
Parcheesi or
Yeah.
Yahtzee.
What do we get?
All right. Ooh, it's like being on a Foley stage.
It is.
12.
Really?
Wow.
So that was our last one, a member of the Alakir.
Correct.
Huh.
Honor and glory to you, child of Hammerfell.
Honor and glory to you, child of Hammerfell. Okay, now we proceed over here to this bed. And once we sleep in this bed, we will be off and running. I've never done this alternate start before, so I have no
have
idea
not
where
either.
we're going to end up.
Camping out in the woods with an Alakir. Giddy up.
Where are we?
There's a building in the background.
Yeah. Oh, I know where we are. This. Okay. Yeah, we're in the Reach. And if we go up over here, we'll just look over the hill quick.
Does
There's a-
she know where she is?
There's a
You
road.
may know where she is. Does she know where she is?
No.
At this
probably
point,
not.
probably not.
We're getting our bearings.
Maybe she was part of a bigger group and got lost.
Oh, look at I've got some textures moving here. I'm gonna have to. I'll deal with that offline. Hopefully, no one will have a seizure watching this.
I didn't see it.
What?
Mud crab.
Where'd you come from?
It's hungry.
It's tiny.
Okay, so there's not a lot of water around here,
Oh, I
is
see
there?
what you mean about that.
Okay, so This is our starting point. Sailee, the Red Guard mage, camped out in the middle of the Reach. So I think the question here is, fellas, we got to decide. She's not under the ill effects of anything right now, so this isn't the decision as to what to do next isn't going to be random here. So we've kind of got some options. What do we want to do? This down there, she could go explore that way. It looks like we've got a path up here.
It does look like she's been here for a little while.
So,
Kind of does.
yeah, what got her here? Was she part of a bigger group, or was she sent ahead to go get some information, intel, kind of a
I
scout?
was going to say a scout would be...
What if we?
Or did she leave her group?
What if we tied her into the whole thing with the Alakir warriors who are
In
looking for the
Whiterun?
missing princess?
That would be the most logical.
You know,
So maybe she's looking for that princess.
yeah, either she came along with that group looking for the princess, or
Maybe she's trying to find the princess first to warn her.
yeah, she's formerly a friend of the princess
Ah.
who's trying to find her first. So maybe she came with those warriors but split off from them, and she's trying to figure out
How to get there before they do.
where the princess is. So at this point, she may be standing around an unfamiliar Skyrim thinking to herself, if I were my friend the princess, where would I go?
Right.
So she could try and find her. That
And-
kind of thing.
Who is that? What's her name? It's S. What's her name?
I forget.
I can't remember now.
Let's see.
Sadia?
Sadia. Yeah. Sadia. That's right. Left ring. Right ring. We got a scimitar we can equip.
Ringtone? Sorry.
We got some cannabis.
Ooh, nice.
We got that one in here. Got a little bit of food. A fur collar. Wow. That's interesting. And then just kind of ignore the Puppet Master things. We may be using those later on to get some cool screen caps and stuff like that. But
Can you get a hookah?
yes, you can.
Sweet.
Oh,
You get one built into the scimitar. It's portable.
Okay.
Multi-purpose tool.
So
Ooh,
I
I like
like
her like
I
that.
was to say that's a good look.
I like
does.
what we're doing here. Look at her. She looks like she looks like a person who would be
on the road.
an independent adventurer or something like that. So maybe we should think about what if she's trying to get to Sadia first. What's her relationship to Sadia? Is she trying to get to her first because she hates her guts and wants first right to kill her, or is she trying to get to her because they were childhood friends, or is it something else?
I would like to go with the route that she is trying to find her to warn her and help her.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
So that begs the question: what's their relation? They're obviously friends, or is she loyal? Maybe she's not
Maybe.
a
Or-
friend.
or
She's
is she-
just a loyal.
Or is she trying to just get close because she has ulterior motives?
That could be too.
I want to warn you, but only because I want you to do what I want you to do.
I like this. What if we did both? What if we say that her relationship to Sadia is one of loyalty, but it's a loyalty based on the fact that she is she is somehow in the employ of the royal family, and her objective or her motivation for finding Sadia first is that if she does, she is sort of granted her freedom from this subservient type
Ooh.
of job, right?
There you go.
Her
Nice.
reward is going to be that she gets to decide the rest of her life herself,
Right.
rather than being jammed into some kind of
Serfdom or
caste system,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That would give her the freedom to go and study what she wants to study, the freedom to maybe
Right.
marry whoever she wants to marry, those kinds of things. So,
in exchange for her freedom,
yeah,
she will save Sadia's life.
yeah.
Kind of a life for a life.
Yeah, so she is a woman who is seeking personal freedom, and her route to personal freedom is as a reward for getting this warning to Sadia. Now, we don't necessarily have to explain who sent her on this little mission or made the bargain with her quite yet,
Right.
but that could play in the future, right?
Sure. All right, cool.
What do you think about that, guys? All right, so based on that, here she is camped out in the Reach, and we're going to say that she came with a group of Alakir warriors who are searching for the princess, but she split off thinking that she can move faster on her own and find the princess quicker if she's separate and claim her reward.
In hopes for her freedom.
Right.
I like it.
Okay.
Great start.
That is a good start, and I think that could make a nice wrap for this episode.
Sure.
It gives us a little bit of time, too, to think about what Sailee's next move is going to be. So, there you go, fellas. Sailee the warrior and freedom seeker. I love it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Save it up.
Save it up. Let's do that. So, let's do this. We will do save game. Sailee, and I'll just do level 1. And we'll establish that. And we got it. All right, thank you all for following along. Yeah, this was kind of a slow start, but you know what? We did a lot of really interesting character building in the last hour. Kind of amazing. We've got a character with a mission. We've got a character with some strengths and weaknesses, and actually some moral complexity going on,
Yep.
which I think is very cool. So, hey, stay tuned. We hope that you will join us in the next episode of Sailee's adventure and a character crusade 3 play. Bye-bye.
See ya.